Acker's last home game for the Lions before the playoffs. How important is this home game?
I mean, obviously, hopefully we'll get the momentum back soon. And like I said, for us campaign, this is quite important. Just to get back as a team, but also to keep that momentum and keep the pressure on the Crusaders.
While momentum is one thing, how much you guys put an eye on the points differential? Because coming down these last couple of games, that's going to be quite crucial in the last couple of months.
Yeah, the way we've got it, Brendan, is that point difference is not going to play a role. It's we're either going to be 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. So if we keep our side clean and we win, then we're going to challenge for that one spot. If the Crusaders obviously keep winning, then we're going to hopefully end at least at 2. But there's no, it looks like we're not going to end on the same lock points as somebody. So, obviously our main objective still stay to score tries and to play exciting brand, and hopefully that will keep points going. But we're not too worried too much about the lock at this stage.
Was it easy to put this team with full strength besides Warren? I mean, was there ever any thought of maybe resting the guys after all the international action?
If we didn't have a bye next week, it probably would have changed my mind. But the reality is that the guys had played and in the context of where we are in the season, like I said, this is an important match, and if we can bank this one, then the guys can have a proper break next week. So get refreshed mentally, physically, and then go into that last stretch. So that helped a lot for the decision. But obviously, out of a performance point of view, it is guys that's in form that what made the selection quite easy.
When we were sitting here with the Kings game, you were saying it's going to be an anxious month for you to see in what shape you guys come back. I mean, obviously now had the injury to Warren. How big a blow is it sort of having him out for such a lengthy time now?
Yeah, I mean, there's only one Warren Whiteley, and what he brings to the side is, it's obviously special, and his leadership, but also not just his leadership, the player that he is, the amount of work he gets through as a number 8. So it's a pity that we've lost him, but the reality is that we played playoffs last year without him as well, and we played some other matches as well. So it's time, that the rest of the group, stand up, and Jaco had that experience as a leader. He's played a lot with Warren, and he's got his own strengths and his own ability to lead the side. That we back 100%. That there was never doubt that we will take over the captaincy. And yes, we're going to miss Warren, but the campaign has to go on, and we must make sure we can go as far as possible to give Warren a fair chance of taking part again.
What do you expect from your Springbok contingent, seeing that they came with a successful test series now? Do you expect the team to sort of click into a higher gear?
Well, it's good. There's enough numbers to have good continuity. All our guys were involved in the last week or two with games, either with SAA or with the Super Sport side, and then the box. They obviously had a high with confidence, had a good serious win. So my expectation is that that's my challenge to them, is to play at that level with that same hunger and that same desire. We're in a competition that we're still in the running, so there's no reason that we can expect nothing less of that kind of level.
Can you talk us through the bye and your thoughts around it? I mean, has it come at a convenient time, or do you think it's just about the time of season where you maybe beat?
When we look at the draw in the beginning of the year, we were not happy with the bye where it was, because obviously you just come out of a 4-week break and you play one game and you have to break again. But considering with the guys that had a lot of rugby now in between, we're quite happy with the bye as it is, and the challenge for us is to keep the guys who didn't play all the test matches, to keep them ready and sharp. But luckily we've got that one game to almost get everybody match fit again before we go into that playoffs. So in hindsight, It's still a long shot, but it gives all the niggles, Rowan Jaseva, Rensburg, it gives Warren Whiteley, it gives Jaco van der Walt, it gives all those guys a week extra to hopefully get closer to playing, you know. So we're actually glad that the buy is there now.
The medical report said that Jaco could be out for between 6 to 8 weeks. Is that how long you also got it that it would be?
No, for sure. I mean, it is a bad injury in the sense that he's struggling physically to walk and stuff. So he's gonna, you know, I said to the doctor, let's, you know, obviously clinically that's a 6 to 8 week injury, but we'll put in everything we can, and every week that we can get it down lower is a bonus. But we, in our minds, I want the team to know that we must prepare without him, and if we do have the privilege to play in a semi-final or a final, and the medical staff can get Warren close to playing, it will be a bonus. But it will be a long shot. As I said, it's definitely not a 2 week or 3 week injury.
Jaco, you must be excited to take over the captaincy now at a time when you and a lot of guys have shown really good form in the last month.
No, for sure. First of all, it's a massive privilege to captain the side. And as Coach said, I will always back Warren when he's the leader. And that's the kind of leadership group we are building. That no matter who is the captain, that we'll back each other and we'll help each other. So Warren is a massive loss for the team. The man he is, we will miss him. But as Coach said, we must still play the game, and we must still get the results.
Is it going to change the way that the Lions might play with the scrum and that, with the change in the loose chair again?
No, I don't believe we want to change anything. You don't want to change stuff that works. I really believe Johan Ackermann brings a different aspect to the game, and yes, with Kwaga also there, we've got a quite dynamic loose trio. It will maybe ask a bit more of myself to play towards the ball, but for the team I'll do anything.
Jaco, just you guys must feel pretty calm as well as a group. Probably a few years back it would have been a really big blow having Warren away due to injury, but you guys started a process, I think about 2 years ago, where in the Curry Cup and those type of competitions you groomed quite a few captaincy options, and now you guys must feel that there's probably like 10 at least in that group. It makes it easier.
Yes, for sure, and that's that credit must go to coach and his management side for doing that during the couple of years we had together. And he could have easily just made one guy captain the whole time and stick with it. But yes, he groomed us in. And as you said, there's a lot of leaders in the team. And the main challenge I believe is going to be for those leaders to work together. And I really believe we're going to do it right.
Jaco, your name's also been linked to a possible move to Wasps in England. Anything on that?
Yeah, I really believe that's a bit premature from whoever wrote that. I saw it in the papers. My dad phoned me. It's like, what's going on? And yes, I'm still signed with the Lions for Super Rugby next year. I am coming out of contract then, and I've got nothing after Super Rugby 2018. So maybe they talked about that, but yes, that's what I know about the story.
Jaco, you haven't spoken to the Gloucester coach for that?
No, not yet.
Jaco, Coach Alistair talked about, since you were part of the Springboks, he talked about from this point on trying to keep your place in the Springbok side depends on what happens from this point on of the competition and how well these players do in Super Rugby. How much does intensify the desire as a player, and how much is that trickling towards the rest of the Lions players? Since they did make a bulk of the Springbok squad, how much does do those words now push you guys to ensure that from this point on you play at your best?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Alistair spoke to the whole group, and he was really happy about the series win. And we started a good culture at the Springboks, and I really believe the culture that we're building will make itself visible in the players on and off the field to work harder, to be better, to be a better person, to be a better player. And I really believe being a Bok puts a target on your back. Everybody wants to challenge you. And if that's not enough motivation for you to work harder, I don't know what will be. So yes, Coach Alistair mentioned you can only play yourself out of the group, and that's a challenging enough comment.
Ron, just what's it like to be back? You must be itching to get on the field.
Yeah, I've had a few games now, but this week feels a bit different. I honestly don't know why. It feels for the first time this year that there's been so many things that's been happening outside of rugby emotionally, and it feels like everything is cleared now. And also the spirit the guys brought back from the box. It feels different. It feels special. It feels what it should feel like.
Well, a year ago, you were looking as though you were just sort of settling yourself nicely into that Springbok jersey. This time around, you were out having to look at how the guys play. Was it burning inside to sort of see them play and not being there?
Yeah, if it doesn't burn inside of you, then you shouldn't play rugby.
Obviously looking forward to having a crack at the Sunwolves. Let's in a few tries this year.
Yeah, we're very excited about the challenge that's coming up. But we'll just stick to what we know, stick to our process, and hopefully we'll come away with a result.
Marcus, from your side, the Sunwolves, what have you made of them?
Well, they've been in quite a fair bit of, especially against the South African sides. They've been in the contest all the way. Obviously they've got the confidence against South African sides of what happened a few years ago. Obviously when you analyse them, they can score tries. Obviously defensively they had a bit of problems, but they can score tries. And if we come in with the wrong attitude and not respecting them, they can punish you. And the reality is that I think that as a team they like to play at a good intensity. So we have to play at a good intensity and keep it there for 80 minutes. So again, I think it's I say always it's that players and that camp got the motivation. It's to play against a side leading their confidence or whatever. So they won't lack motivation, and therefore it makes them a dangerous side. And they've refreshed. They all had a break. So it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Chris, how do you keep the boys focused on one game at a time and not thinking too far ahead in terms of a semi-final spot or maybe even finishing top of the combined block? And how do you make sure that they're focused on the goal, the immediate goal?
Yeah, well, it's come a while now. We've been talking the same language now every year, and the players know what is the expectation. Yes, there is an outcome there if you get to the playoffs, but we've got a certain vision and style that we want to play at, and that's the secret. So for us to get to that, we have to perform week by week. If you're going to worry about the weeks ahead, you're going to make it difficult for yourself. So as an individual, you need to prepare a certain way during the week, and collectively as a team, you have to play at a certain level. And that's my challenge every week to the players. If you're going to do less and think you're going to protect yourself for this week because we're already in the playoffs, that's when you're going to lose your momentum and your form. So the guys know my heart that we've got a responsibility towards the jersey and towards the supporters to put our best performance there and not worry about what's lying here.
How important do you think that relationship Elton and Ross created in the Springboks in terms of bringing it here to the Lions and for the matches for the rest of the season? How important do you think what they built there at national level, that intensity, how will it benefit you guys here?
I think it goes both ways. I think they built it here as well, and then it went there, and now it's coming back to us. So, so again, we've got faith in Ross, we've got faith in Faf, we've got faith in Elton, but they can only perform if the back perform, and then again, Elton can only distribute if players around him is alert and sharp, So it's a combination thing. But yes, for sure, if your 9 and 10 is in control and they perform like they did at national level, it helps a lot, because ultimately they give the direction and they give the momentum. So that's great for us that they're in that form, and may it last another 6 weeks.
Coach, just previous question for this one. How tricky does it get? Like you were saying, you've had guys who played, we have guys who haven't played a lot. In mind, playoffs place is already there. Just the player management, how tricky does that become for the technical team to ensure that you don't want to, overburn guys or risk them of injury, then you don't have them for the playoffs, and also work on contingency plans of, should things not work, these guys who are overburned, here's a contingency plan for guys, who've had some sort of rugby and will be able to execute the plan.
There's definitely guys we need to manage. Obviously the reality is guys like Elton, Franco Monster, Kortnell, those guys has played 80 minutes now for the last few weeks. But we also need them. We're in a campaign, and for us now it's to manage them during the week well, and hopefully get a performance on the Saturday. But the experience the guys had last year and the year before, but especially last year of a number of Springboks, is the things that make it a little bit easier. So last year the transition from the international window to the back to the Super Rugby went quite smooth, and that's our expectation this week as well. Like I said, it didn't happen overnight. The players knew the goals that we set out and where we work towards, and that was to me the international window was a recognition for the hard work they've put in at the union, and unfortunately there's no break for them now. We need them now, and then, like I said, then we will manage them in the next week when we don't have to play. But the group is professional. They look after themselves as well, and that's important for us. That's all the values we've put in over a long period. That it's not just what you do on the field, but also off the field. And there's a lot of hours that you spend on your own, and you must use it productively.
Last question, please. Everyone finished?
Do you expect the transition to be better? I mean, last season came back and there was a lot of question marks with the test that the Boks had last year. This time around, it's a completely different case. The spirit is high. You expected that transition.
No, if you look at last year, we kept our momentum going. We came back and we had the Sharks game immediately after the international window, and that was the decider who's going to win the conference. And we were like 1 point ahead of them, or 2 points, and it was almost a knockout game for the conference win and stuff. So we pulled it off, and then the level went up, and then we went to the Crusaders and the Highlanders in the knockouts. So what I'm saying is the guys came back, and the international thing didn't really affect them. Their confidence was still there. Obviously we've got our own style and our own way of how we do things during the week, and we never felt that we had to recreate something or building something. I mean, the dangerous thing now is that you think you're good and you played well, and now you just have to pitch up. So the flip is the other way around. So now the challenge is you maybe have achieved a win over France in a series, but we haven't won Super Rugby yet, and we haven't beaten the Sunwolves yet. So we still have to perform and do that.